Hello and welcome back to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm joined with my co Sid. How's it going, Sid?
Good. How are you, bro?
Yeah, not bad. I'm hoping our internet connections hold up this time round, not like last week.
Yeah, last week was a madness.
We've
Yeah,
we've paid the bill, so we should be
yeah.
all right.
I
Uh,
told my parents not to be on the internet.
I know I'll give everyone warning, like no one's on the internet for the next hour, so yeah, hopefully it goes smoothly. So let's begin with a roundup of the Champions League. So I watched the Liverpool game. Don't know if you watched it as well, Sid.
No, I was busy. Sorry.
Yeah, of course you're washing your hair and all that.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, that was a very exciting game. I wasn't expecting it to be that exciting because a lot was said about Atalanta, that very, very attack-minded team. Liverpool going to find it hard to handle their attacking strengths, especially as it's an away game as well. But it was literally a walk in the park. We just literally ran them over. Jota was just unbelievable, man. Like he's just on a different level right now. Like I think when we spoke about it when he first signed, that I was really excited that he signed because he's like the perfect player for us in terms of covering the front three. But now you can't really dismiss him from the team. He needs to be starting. And a lot of people have been debating online regarding Liverpool's next fixture this week against Man City. That what should be the starting lineup, and I would start Jota 100%. He scored a hat trick today. I'll probably play a different formation though. I'll probably play like a 4-2-3-1. So I have all four of the players playing. So Firmino up front as well. Actually, now I'll play Firmino as another number 10 and then play Jota up top. Because for me, I knew he was fast, but he's electric. I don't know if you saw the goals today, but the way he was stretching the defenses was just
Different.
unbelievable. So what do you think of the goals today?
The thing is, I'll be honest. I haven't managed to watch the goals, but I've read
I
reports.
actually missed two of the goals because I went out, I popped out for a bit, and they scored two goals just after half time. So
Yeah,
I watched it now, but yeah, I missed it as well. To be fair,
I'm not gonna lie, but I think what people are saying, because I saw on like comments
yeah,
on like the internet, people are saying that he has to start ahead of Firmino now. Firmino's not been effective. What Jota's doing is what Firmino should be doing. Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I can't really say anything because I don't know. But
I think that's a bit unfair. I get what people are saying. Obviously, when you're scoring goals as a forward player, that's that's your rules, isn't it? That you have to score as many goals as you can as possible. But Firmino is a different type of player where he basically brings Mane and Salah into the central areas coming from wide. So practically Mane and Salah are like wide strikers. And then with Firmino playing as like I'll call it a 9.5 because he's not quite number 9, but he's not quite number 10 as well. Because he likes to drift in and out in the center of the pitch as well. So for me, he's quite effective in that way. And our success has been built around Firmino in terms of the way he plays. He allows Mane and Salah to score goals. But I think with obviously Van Dijk being injured, and we've had to use Fabinho as a makeshift centre back as well. Obviously, he's injured right now. We're not blessed with a lot of midfielders right now. So we've got Thiago injured as well. Henderson's
is
back.
he?
Yeah, Thiago, he's back in training, but he's a 50-50 for this weekend. But he's been injured for the last 2-3 weeks. Keita's just returned from injury as well. So we've had quite a few number of injuries in the last few weeks. So yeah, but to be fair, it's I have to give credit to the youngsters that have played in defense, like Reece Williams, Nathaniel Phillips, who played the other day against West Ham, which we'll talk about further on in the show, was fantastic. I've totally forgot about him, to be honest with you. I didn't even know he was in the ranks because he was supposed to move to a championship team a couple of weeks ago, just before the deadline. So
He got man of the match, isn't it?
yeah, man, the match, and like he was just a commanding figure throughout. Like I think that's what we lack when Van Dijk isn't on the pitch, is someone who's sort of the first person that heads the ball from set pieces and stuff. And he has that aerial presence. So for me, it was fantastic. So but yeah, well, we could talk about the Premier League a bit more. But yeah, I was very, very impressed with the way Liverpool played today, especially as our away form hasn't always been great, especially against Italian opposition. So we've always like lost to Napoli in the last couple of seasons into the Champions League. So yeah, very, very impressed with them. I believe Man City won today as well, 3-0. So that's a good
3-0.
result for them.
Yeah.
Ajax won in Liverpool's group against Midtjylland, which is I think, kind of straightforward result. Your team, the one that you love to pronounce, Borussia Mönchengladbach,
Oh yeah. I was like,
6-0.
wait, what? Yeah, that's a surprise.
6-0.
Shakhtar, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's an away game as well, so
Mm.
that's a phenomenal result. And Real Madrid and Inter Milan. So I believe Rodrigo scored the final goal for Real Madrid.
3-2,
Yeah, so that must. I need to catch up on the highlights. So that seems like it would have been an interesting game.
yeah.
And the Bayern Munich game against Salzburg. So I believe it was 2-2 with like 15 minutes left of the game, and
Yeah.
they made it 6-2 with obviously Lewandowski coming to the rescue as always. So some
He's
interesting.
just,
Yeah, sorry.
no, I was gonna say he's just next level, but you never worry with Bayern. Like
No,
even if
no.
they go down, it's pretty similar to how it was with Liverpool last year. You just know they're gonna come back.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So it's just like, all right, 2-0. All right, send on the big boys, or do you see what I'm saying? You switch things up, and then they'll just 6-2. Do you see what I'm saying?
6-2,
That's saying something. But
their strength and depth is absolutely ridiculous. Like just their wide players alone, it's like any of them can play, and you'll never feel like there's like a lack of quality in the team. Like they're all equal quality. So yeah, I think still Bayern are the team to beat in the Champions League. But yeah, a good round of results to be fair. Quite interesting to see how everyone's doing. I think everyone's trying to get as many points as possible, so they can kind of sort of relax regarding the last few games. Try and get as many points as possible. That's what Liverpool are trying to do. So we've got nine points. So we won our first 3 games. I think one more, and then we'll practically qualify so we can rest our players going down the line. But the schedule being so congested right now, like I feel like every week it's a Champions League game. So
telling you.
yeah, so the games are running thick and fast. So, but let's move on to the Premier League. So match week 7, quite a few interesting results, I would say. I'm sure you would like to speak on your beloved Manchester United. Give me your overview of the game. What do you think happened? Why did you think United didn't get the victory in the end?
I mean, you're never going to get the victory because they're just shambles of a club, isn't it? But it's one of those things where I think I saw it against also the Champions League game against Red Bull Leipzig.
Yeah.
And one of the commentators was saying United is back. I knew from that moment we was going to lose against Arsenal. Yeah, because we ride this wave where we have 2 or 3 games where we play semi-decent, draw against Chelsea, beat PSG, do you see what I'm saying? And it's just, where do you see a change in performance to warrant such a statement, bold statement like that? And for me, I'll be quick, but it's one of those things where I just don't know what he's doing. I just don't think he has a foggiest. Ask him what his best team is. He couldn't tell you, even if he had everyone at his disposal. No injuries, no suspensions, no nothing. Yeah. You bring back McTominay and Fred. I'm sorry, I get what he was trying to do, but this wasn't a game for that. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to do this diamond formation, it's not working. I'd rather have Matic, who offers a bit more assurance than McTominay. McTominay's good, but I don't think he's at that age or experience to be holding play up like Matic. Do you see what I'm saying? And just sit in front of the back 4. You got Van der Beek, who is, I'm sorry, but he's getting mugged off now. Like,
Free
this is
Donny.
ridiculous.
Free Donny, man.
It's shocking. And for me, Solskjaer is making me dislike Pogba.
Okay.
Solskjaer is playing Pogba. Well, he's not playing him. He's just Pogba. He's putting Pogba just to put Pogba because he's 90 million.
Yeah.
You said you're going to build your team around Pogba. You can't do that now because you got Fernandes. Yeah. You can't do that now because you got Van der Beek. And my thing is that people are talking about Pogba influences games. I will sit here silent for the rest of the show if you can tell me in the last 18 months what game has he dominated or shown that he's world class. We latch on to this statement that Paul Pogba's world class. Where? What does he do? I can't tell you what he actually does. At least with Rashford, he brings something to the table. Yeah, he can be erratic, but you know what he's trying to do and achieve.
Yeah.
Pogba, look at the penalty conceded.
Mm.
What are you doing with your long-legged stride? You're not Vieira. Do you see what I'm saying? If you're going to do such things, get in the box and make that tackle. Make it guarantee that you'll get in front of the player and get the ball. This guy, as soon as he landed on the floor, I knew it was game over. But the game, it wasn't even a good game.
Yeah.
Like, no, Arsenal dominated possession in the first half. They didn't create enough. Second half, I think United had a good 10, 15 minutes. It deserved a draw. I thought it was going to be Chelsea 0-0. Nobody's going out for the kill. But look, here we are, isn't it? I think everyone's saying that, Arteta's a tactician. He knew what he was doing. I'm like, behave. You're playing Man United. This is not.
United just played poorly. That's all it was. There's nothing to do with tactics there.
It's like you're not playing Liverpool or Man City. You're playing Man United. You can't even string a run of games together. Like Champions League. Mark my words, yeah. We'll get to either the. I'm going to say we'll get to the semis of the Champions League.
Whoa, you really think that?
Remember, no. Hear me out, yeah. Because for some reason he will play well against these European clubs.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, but he doesn't have a clue. He still thinks the Premiership is how it was in Sir Alex Ferguson days, where nobody's competitive. Like times are changing, my friend. You can't claim to be playing Leeds and think you can rest players. Put Matter up on the right, my friend. It's not going to work. You're going to get found out now. Do you see what I'm saying? But
I'm surprised Matt still plays for Manchester United, if I'm honest with you.
To be fair, I can't lie. I like him, but it's Carabao Cup. That's the place for him. Yeah.
So regarding Pogba, that's something I wanted to ask you because it's been a talking point for I think at least a couple of weeks now regarding his best position in the team, and it's been, I think, documented that he's played in different positions during his time at Manchester United, and it just doesn't seem to have worked. Do you think his time is coming to an end at Manchester United?
Why is he still there? Answer it. Like, why is he still there?
Do you think it's down to him in terms of as an individual that he's not playing to his capability, or do you think he's just probably playing at United at a wrong era where they're not at the highest level, or in comparison to the previous years of Manchester United? Do you think there's a factor in that, or is it just that you think he's a great talent but just not the player that everyone expects him to be?
I just don't think. I think we've been sold a dream, if I'm honest with you. Like, I really do. I don't. Apart from what Man City 3-2 when we beat them, a few games where he's dominated.
Yeah,
I can't tell you what this kid has brought to the team.
Wow.
Do you see what I'm saying? When Solskjaer first came back, you must remember a lot of people was riding that wave of confidence. But people only highlighted Pogba because he was our star player. And at that time, when you haven't got many superstars, they look to that particular player. So if he's playing well, the savior. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you guys are quick to insult him as well if he has an average game. So
well, it's deserved though.
Yeah. I feel sorry for him, I just think he's literally at the wrong club. That's just how I see it. I don't think he should have actually moved to Manchester United. He was doing fantastically well at Juventus, where it's harder to become a top player there just because of the way they train there, the quality of players that they have there as well. And he was like the top player in that team as well. So I think it's a bit unfortunate that he's played for managers that, in my opinion, aren't United caliber in comparison to Sir Alex Ferguson in the past. Mourinho, when he was there, I guess that's the kind of caliber you thought maybe he'll get the best out of Pogba. Showed phases of his quality there, but he wasn't consistent enough, and I think injuries played a part in that as well. At the same time, we've just got a comment from Karisk, who's asking Poch in for Man United. Do you think that's something that could happen in the future? And is that something you'd like to see, or do you have faith in Ole, as he's always behind the wheel?
Ole needs to go now, man. I'm so
Right now,
tired.
or end of the season, what's your feeling towards that?
End of the season will just be about damage limitation, my friend. Like how high up you can take us. Can you get us in the top 10? If we don't act now, we're going to be seriously struggling. For me, I'm going to make a bold thing. I actually think we should have gone for Ancelotti. Because as much as Poch is a good manager, what has he actually done though? He brings in the youth, fine, I get that, but you can't say Poch has experience of winning trophies.
Yeah.
Just what I'm saying, like we tried that with Moyes. Okay, yeah, he was a promising manager, but look what they got him. Like Van Gaal won stuff, Mourinho won stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Those are the type of managers we needed. Unfortunately, didn't work. But no, Poch is an upgrade to Ole, 100%. But again,
that's hard, Sid. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. It's not hard.
yeah.
I think Poch would be a good manager for your team. To be honest with you, I think the way he plays football, he'll just bring a different life to the club, and I think the fans will be back on board as well. Because obviously, I'm speaking as a neutral, that there's not much progression happening at Manchester United, and it's evident as well with the way fans react after a bad result or a draw. Like sometimes when you lose, like you still feel a bit upbeat that we just didn't have a good game, but when United lose, it's the same with Arsenal. To be fair, that whenever they lose, it's like the end of the world. It's like it's just earthquake everywhere. Everyone's just going through different kind of like emotions, and it's just like all hell breaks basically. So I think it's a good shout. I was definitely looking to Poch being a manager who's available right now, because you have to look at the market as well, like what managers are available. Obviously, Ancelotti is at Everton, but he wouldn't leave mid-season just like that. It might be something he'd consider in the end of the season, but I think that's a good shout, to be honest with you. So another talking point has been Salah. So let me get your thoughts on this first, because I feel like I'll probably go on and on about it a little bit more. So the challenge that happened against him during the West Ham game, do you think that was a dive?
I think so. I'm not gonna lie. I think so. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. I know I dislike Liverpool, but
was there any contact on Salah, or do you think it was a thing where, not that this is what happened, but I'm just saying, because there's occasions where a defender's leg is there and the player would trip over it. Was that how you viewed it, or was it more or less that there was contact, but he may have simulated a bit more than the normal striker would do in that shape?
Oh, but I don't deny that there wasn't contact. But again, it's just the whole, getting it like theatrics and all of that. Do you see what I'm saying? And that for me that was evident. And I wouldn't go as far to call him a diver.
Yeah, but that's what he's been labelled at right now.
Yeah,
so there was an article written by a former player, I forgot his name now, Tony Costagno or something like that, and he basically just labelled him as a diver, and is like kind of saying that he's a embarrassment to the game. I think Garth Crooks mentioned something yesterday as well, saying that Henderson needs to have a word with Salah regarding his silly antics as a diver, something along those lines. And to be fair, I didn't really take it too seriously, because no offense, it's views from other former players that I don't think are in touch in the game, if I'm honest with you. I think if you look at all the great strikers, they all have that element in their game. You can't tell me there's any striker who's gone in the penalty box where they felt some level of contact and they've simulated to an extent. But the thing is, if you don't simulate, you won't get that penalty. It's just how it is. There's been so many times where players have stood their ground and they've never received a penalty. Oh yeah, you get a clap for being that person, but you don't get a penalty for your team. That's the difference
Yeah,
between winning and losing as well. At the same time, all the greats did it as well. So I don't label him as a diver, but my problem is the British media in terms of people that work on these TV stations. That there's been incidents. I'm not even going to like talk about incidents that's happened in the past. During match week 7, there were incidents involving English players or British players, however you want to label it, that had penalties against them that were debatable, and they all simulated to an extent. But they were always regarded as, oh, it's good play, it's clever play. But when it comes to players like Salah, Mane, or Aubameyang, or any of those type of players, like foreigners, to say it like in that way, they're looked at in a different way, because I think the perception that former British players have is that we're strong players, we don't drop on the floor like that at all, we don't dive around. Whereas the South Americans, who are eccentric in terms of the way they play, or African players, the way they play, they fall to the ground easily. That's just the perception they have. So for me, it's a thing where the British media kind of need to have a little thing in terms of how they're perceiving the match as well. It's slightly ruining the game in my view, and I feel like a lot of these pundits that are speaking are players that used to play in the 70s and the 80s. So these stations need to kind of revamp their shows and bring younger sort of pundits as well. Like Sky have brought Mika Richards and they've brought Alex Scott, people like that who've just finished playing the game, so they have a better understanding of the game. So that's my whole kind of like argument with this whole thing that Salah's been labeled as a diver. I would never regard him as a diver, and that's just me speaking as a neutral. I think, I was never a professional, but I used to play as a striker, so I know that there's certain ways where you can get a free kick or a penalty by just being smart. All the greats did it. There's no striker that wouldn't do it. It's just being smart in terms of when you know there's contact to move or dive a certain way. Like, no one's Michael Phelps. No one's just jumping over for the sake of jumping, So yeah, that's my agenda, because I think Harry Kane got a penalty I think on Sunday they played, isn't it? And for me, that was not a pen. Like, he saw Lallana coming and then he literally just moved back into him, and it was just the softest penalty you can get as well. Same with Callum Wilson against Newcastle, where I think it was Shelby, I'm not sure, but someone whipped the corner and he touched his leg slightly and then he just dropped dramatically on the floor. But he was regarded as very clever. And I watched the games as well. And I even, like, for example, the Kane that I just mentioned, the commentator said that he was looking for that, but they never said it in a rude way. Does that make sense? Like, he's like, oh, Kane was looking for that. And they were surprised that he got the penalty for the end. And then there's other incidents as well. And I was just like, yeah, I just feel like there's some sort of agenda as well. Like for the Wilson one, the commentator was like, oh, he makes a big meal out of it. But then do you get what I'm saying? So they say the comments that they see, but when it's the replays and stuff, it's like, oh, it's a penalty. It was good play. It was clever play. So that's the problem I have. Like, there's no consistency in terms of how they treat each player separately. And I think it's not down to clubs or anything like that. It can be individuals. Like I've mentioned Aubameyang. He's probably been mistreated as well. Martial gets a lot of penalties for Manchester United, but it's just, I don't know. It is what it is. I don't know how you feel about that, but yeah, that's my little rant there.
no, but it's a good point. I think, even just in general, I think, not to move away from your topic on penalties, but, I think Rogers mentioned that, the British managers get a lot of stick.
Yeah.
Or they don't get represented well. So it's weird. So when it comes to the football players, they get grief because of the way they present themselves and how they play. If you're British, you're respected a bit more. But if you're coming with your theatrics, can you imagine if Neymar came to the Prem?
Yeah. Imagine.
Can you imagine? He would get grief left, right, and center. A slight kick by a Burnley defender or, a Leeds United player. He'll be on the floor crying, we're claiming his Oscar. But it's weird. The tables turn when it's the management. So it's true, people have got agendas based on their standing in the game. But back to your penalty issue, I do think that it is a bit more harsh for international players, as in like foreign players. But Harry Kane can't do no wrong. Vardy can't do no wrong. It's Mo Salah, regardless of what you say, how can you not like him? Do you see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But people will find an agenda,
Yeah, that's true.
and I'm not agreeing with what Aguero did a few weeks back, putting his
Yeah.
arm around the assistant ref. But people will talk about that for a period because it's Aguero. But I guarantee you, if it was, Declan Rice or
They would
Harry Kane,
it wouldn't be the same treatment at all. It would just be
no,
forgotten about. Like even just like not even talking to like personal issues with regarding players, but you've got players that have had off-field issues as well, and like it's just been put under the rug because they're British players, and it's just
mm,
like obviously I get if they're young and not, people make mistakes here and there, I get it, but the thing is everyone should be treated equally. That's why Raheem Sterling made that marks regarding the media, where he felt like he was unfairly treated regarding stories that were written about him, like silly things like, oh, he went to Poundland to get a battery and like stuff like that. It's just like, like he bought a house for his mom, and then Foden did the same, but the way the headlines were completely different. Like, oh, like Foden's a saint for buying his mama house, and
yeah,
like Raheem Sterling just being flashy because he's bought a mama house, and like it's just like there's agenda, isn't it? So I'm not saying it's a racism thing or anything like that, but I do feel like there's a preference towards British players, and then because it's British players, it's like we have that perception that, oh, we can't do anything wrong in terms of the way we play. We play the game the correct way. Does that make sense? So yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
It's a clear, yeah. I mean, it's a hard one because Sterling is a great professional,
Yeah.
and he has been a good servant so far in the game. But he, I guess, based on something that he's done previously, that is hard for him to shake off that
Mm,
image.
yeah.
And that's sad because it's you're pushing for equality and for people to be seen equals, but it's not that, and it will take a while. But yeah, I mean, look, you're right. This penalty thing, Salah, unfortunately, in that game, I think he dived, but I wouldn't go as far to label him as a diver.
Yeah. So Chris has just sent a comment saying diving is the same as defenders holding in the box. It's cheating regardless of where they're from. That's true. It is, but I just feel like there's some instances where I think some players just kind of get the blight in terms of like, oh, because they're British or because maybe who they are, it might just be sort of forgotten about or not looked at the same time. Whereas if a player has a certain reputation, they'll get penalties against them, or like not to even speak about it because it's your team, Sid, but even United, they get a lot of penalties. But like, it's a thing where I think Martial's smart because I feel like Martial gets most of your penalties, but he's
Yeah,
smart in the way he does it. So that's something I've never really complained about. But it can be looked at a different way that, oh, United keep getting penalties, blah. So it just depends as well. And obviously, Harry Maguire had that incident last week where he was grappling a player like that should be a penalty. Do you know what I'm saying? So it shouldn't be a thing where it's like based on who they are. I just think the referees are just inconsistent, full stop.
yeah,
Even throughout the weekend, there were decisions where they went to the screens, viewed it, like the penalty, the goal that
excellent.
Jota scored against West Ham.
Mm,
That was another thing is goalkeepers are overprotected as well. So obviously that tackle that Mane did on Fabianski,
mm,
it wasn't. It was he got the ball, so it wasn't like he was trying to get the goalkeeper in any shape or form. So it's just one of those ones where I just feel like, yeah, it's just I don't even know. I feel like we talk about VAR referees every week, but I
mm.
feel like they're ruining the game. That's literally
Yeah,
how it is. I think with added technology, it should be a thing where we should kind of just use the technology to our advantage and make those decisions correctly. There shouldn't be an agenda or an ego behind these referees where they feel like, oh, because I made that decision, that's how it goes. Like, use VAR as an assistant, not as the person that makes the final decisions. Because at the minute, they're kind of hiding underneath the rocks where it's just like, I'm not going to make that call because I'm going to look bad upon as well. And then next week, I won't be able to referee a game. There's always hidden kind of meanings behind it. So,
yeah, yeah.
so Chris is asking, how do you stamp it out? So one of my suggestions I said earlier on was in terms of my issue has more to do with the British media in terms of how they've kind of perceived the incident regarding Salah. So things like that for me, it's like hire people that are a bit more relevant in the game in terms of they've just finished playing the game. Because if you've got people that played in the 70s, 80s, early 90s, the game has evolved dramatically since those days. The game has changed dramatically since 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, look at
It's
Liverpool's
ever changing. Yeah.
front line today. Three strikers that were literally under 6 foot, and they're just rapid players. And then back in the day, they wouldn't be played up front. They would be regarded as wingers, or you know what I'm saying? They wouldn't be regarded as front three like that. That's not how football was back in the day. So yeah, in terms of the media perspective, I think, like for example, Soccer Saturday has been dismissed, and they've obviously tried to do a different kind of way of showcasing. So they've got their social Saturdays where they've got Chunks as the presenter, and they've got different people coming every week. So different kind of formats here and there where you get different perspectives from different types of people. And you've still got your normal sort of format, the 3 o'clock kickoffs with BT Sports, but like Match of the Day, it's the same people every week. So that needs to be changed a little bit. Where Mika Richards is there, and I feel like I've said it before, he's a breath of fresh air for me. Like he just has a different perspective of the game. But more of these youngsters, like even Stephen Warnock, when I listen to him on Radio 5 sometimes, speaks a lot of sense, but he doesn't get a lot of TV time, in my opinion. So maybe because he didn't play at the highest level for a long time. But so yeah, for me, that's the one for me. Because unfortunately, when you see these headlines around Twitter or on your social media feeds, you would literally read the headline and just take that as gospel, and you wouldn't actually read the article or actually understand what that person meant. Do you understand? So everything's clickbait nowadays, where you see a headline and yeah, that's the perception I have of that player. So yeah.
No,
So what are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts in terms of how it can be stamped out?
I think you're right. Things do need to change. I think it needs to become a bit more modern in the sense that media does play a big part in how people view football and sport. Do you see what I'm saying? And if you have the right people at the forefront, views will change. But if you stay haggard and have people like Mark Lawrence, or I'm not saying that is the case, but Alan Hansen, as it used to be, of course people are going to have warped views. I mean, Graham Souness to this day has got an agenda against Paul Pogba. He can't do anything right, can he? Do you see what I'm saying? So things like that need to get fixed up. But if we're talking about how do you stamp out diving and all of that, I mean, those things will never go. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's part and parcel. But if you are to implement such things like VAR, use it properly then.
Exactly.
Be clear in what the purpose of VAR is. And you mentioned this before, if you are to do that, rugby is a great, example to be, looked at, because they stop play. So if for instance 20 seconds, it will stop there and take time for the ref to get views from the people in the stands to get an understanding of what happened. He will also check the monitor, and there'll be a decision made, and then football can resume. But I feel like they're already under pressure from the moment they blow, and it's just like, okay,
yeah.
What's the game like? Is it 15 minutes ago? 0-0. Oh, let's spice up. Okay, penalty. Yep.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about it properly. Your mind is just pressure to get the whistle blown and starting the game again. So I think,
and the worst thing is there's no crowd as well. Like before there would always be that crowd pressure where if you're a home team, like the home team would normally get that penalty if it's like a 50-50 kind of decision. But there's no crowd, so I don't know what the issue is. Like you've got the screens there, like use it to the most capability you can. If you're not sure, go to the monitor. But referees are very reluctant to do that, so I think that's an issue as well. It's more of an ego thing where they want to make that decision on the basis that they've got amazing eyesight. They can see everything, even from things that happen behind the back of their heads. They can see it. Apparently. So it's like they need to like. But the thing is, that's referees for you. They've always had that kind of perception where it's just like they want to be star of the show. I've mentioned other examples in the past, but yeah, it's just Martin Atkinson comes to mind. But yeah, it's a crazy one. Any other highlights regarding match week 7, Sid? So there were a few goals that I was quite impressed by. I don't know if you saw the Fulham goal yesterday.
I didn't actually. What's that?
Oh, you need to see it. It was a spectacular goal. Really, really good goal. Bell's goal Bale scored his first goal as well.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I'm that's a good signing for them, and I think he brings that feel good factor, but also his experience. You can't touch it. It's just he needs that run of games because he's always injured.
Yeah.
But
I think
yeah, I
he's
think
in Southampton as well,
yeah, bro,
Southampton.
for free. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you see the goals?
I saw Ward Prowse.
Yeah, 2 free kicks.
He's something else, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's one of the best free kick takers in the league. Like, and he's consistent as well. Obviously, he did 2 in a row in that game, but I think even in seasons before, he's really consistent. And Ings'
Oh
goal
yeah,
was just,
yeah,
whew,
sublime.
whew.
But he's next levels. This last
Yeah,
few seasons, he's just coming up, and I just think he has to be considered. Well, he's definitely going to the Euros. He has to.
yeah,
He
yeah.
has to. But yeah, it's the Premier. I like it because it's not boring. It's
No,
there's definitely goals.
yeah. I'm really happy for him to be. Obviously, he was a player at my club, um, but he was very unlucky with injuries, unfortunately. But yeah, I think he's kept himself fit, which is fantastic. And now he's like getting his rewards, and he's playing with so much freedom as well, which is really nice to see as well. So yeah, I'm happy that Ings is doing well. Southampton could be top of the league this weekend because they got a Friday match this week. So because only 3 points away from Liverpool right now. Yeah. So they're doing all right.
9-0 to top of the league, eh?
Yeah, trust me. Do you know what? That's an amazing turnaround for them as well. And that credit goes to the management there, to the players as well, who just let that result go and say, look, we need to focus and we need to try and do it for the fans as well. And they've been fantastic since. I think we've been raving about them for quite a few months now. They've just been in great form. So
Yeah, props to them, man. I think long may it continue because it's definitely making the Prem look good.
yeah, exactly. Because it's always like, there's like a top 6, but then you've got other teams outside, like your Southamptons now as well. Everton, who weren't considered top 6, are doing well this season as well. Crystal Palace are showing good form as well at the same time. So a number of teams that are there, and it's just like it's nice to have that competitive league as well at the same time. So and with no crowd as well, it just pretty much seems like everything's open this season as well. So
exactly.
So yeah, so we'll see how that pans out. Next week is international week as well, so we'll have a bit of a breather regarding Premier League. So fantasy football, how did you do, Sid?
I think I did all right. I think I averaged 64 points.
All right.
This week, which was quite good. But because of my previous 2 weeks, I think I'm still 41st because I dropped a lot of points in the last few rounds. But how about you?
I didn't have the best of weeks, to be honest with you. I got 46, but I still maintain, I think, my position in top 3. But there was a gentleman who scored 88 points. Goes by the name of Jack Haynes, 88 points. Like, wow. Yeah, I think he selected players quite well today. I think he could have actually got more points. He had a couple players on his bench that had, I think, Kilman from Wolves had 6 points, so he didn't have him on the pitch. But yeah, well done to Jack. That's an amazing week for you.
You're coming this week.
I know my cousin. I was thinking, oh yeah, 4 times in a row, but I'm sure he'll be back, probably watching now. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get my crown back. Daniel Domina, he's still top. He's still top right now.
Yeah.
So he's doing well. So he's still got his bragging rights at the moment.
Props to him.
Yeah, props to him. But yeah, but overall good. So as I mentioned, there's an international week next week. So we'll keep you posted on our social media if we'll do another episode. But yeah, thank you for listening and watching as well. I know there's a lockdown happening this week for the people in the UK. So just like to say, everyone stay calm. We're all going through this together. So it's just important that we, stay happy, try and keep positive spirits at the same time. And yeah, we'll try and do some content for you guys as well. Try and uplift everyone's mood as well. So might see some quizzes down the line. We'll keep you posted. So follow us on social media and then we'll keep you posted. So thanks for listening and watching, guys. Stay tuned and we'll see you next week.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.